Recognized.
Mr. Speaker, at this time I would like to recognize my friend and colleague and leader of this effort, Mr. Duffy from Wisconsin, for such time as he may consume.
The gentleman from Wisconsin is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank the gentleman from Michigan and also a very good friend of mine for yielding. I rise in support of H.R. 4537, the International Insurance Standards Act. I first want to start with thanking the gentleman from Washington, Mr. Heck, for his countless hours and effort that he put in a bipartisan effort crafting this bill that would allow us to get an incredibly wonderful bipartisan vote. On top of that, we had some jurisdictional issues, so we had two chairmen from Texas, Ways and Mean and Rules Committee, Chairman Brady and Chairman Sessions, who also worked with us to navigate those jurisdictional issues. And I also want to thank the ranking member, Ms. Waters, for working with both of us, Mr. Heck and myself, to navigate some of the issues that she had with this bill to allow us to craft a piece of legislation that could get bipartisan support. And I know at a time when a lot of people don't think that bipartisanship necessarily happens in this chamber or in this town, because it doesn't make great news, but it happens, and people work together and they compromise and they find a pathway forward, and I think this is a great example of that, and I want to thank the ranking member for her help in this effort and for her support. Again, it passed out of committee 56-4. In essence, what we're doing here is saying, we've had a state-based model in America that's served this country very well for 150 years. We've had a focus on policyholder protection and solvency protection, and our insurance industry has been pretty resilient, and we're proud of it. But we also recognize that the world is changing. It's become a far smaller world, and we have different standards in different countries, and we have to be able to navigate those differences, and we have to, as Americans, have to be able to engage with the rest of the world. And that's a good thing, but as we engage, we also want to make sure we don't sell our state-based American model for some other model in some other country. And if we want to change an insurance model of regulation in America, that's our job. And in this chamber, we shouldn't have some executive appointee negotiate a deal that undermines our state-based model. And so that was the vision here of what we're trying to accomplish. And in essence, we provide parameters to U.S. negotiators that prevent federal U.S. Negotiators from entering into an international insurance agreement unless it is consistent and reflective of the existing U.S. system of insurance regulation. So again, it has to be consistent and reflective of our model. It creates more transparency in the international insurance negotiation process, as U.S. negotiators have to regularly inform Congress as to the state and content of the negotiations that are being undertaken. And it also ensures that our state insurance regulators are closely consulted in the process of the international insurance standard setting. So this is a well-crafted bill that took into concerns that both sides of the aisle had. And I would just note, as a member of this chamber, and I think both sides feel this way, and whether it was President Clinton or Bush or Obama or now President Trump, we have a role in this chamber, and oftentimes we cede power to the executive. I think it's important for us to exert some authority here to say, if we're going to be changing rules, you can't just do it without us and through international negotiations. And I think this is a look to that point that, again, we have a great model, and if we're going to change it, we need to be a part of it. We need to be consulted. And so with that, I want to thank the ranking member. I want to thank Mr. Heck and the